What is up, everybody, and welcome to the Football Boot Hour with me, James, and my co-host, Andrew from the Lockhart Boots blog. We have been on a little bit of a negative run recently of our thoughts, our feelings, the way we've portrayed ourselves in the podcast, and we feel like we need to do a little bit of a change. We can sometimes be a little cynical, I feel. We feel. So today we're going to talk about the best, the best things in the football boot world, or the best things that have happened. It's all positive today. Whatever it is, it's positive. So if you're feeling positive, you got positive things today to say, put them in the comments, drop them in the live chat. We're going to get to them all. We're looking for a really happy, positive kind of day. With that said, I do have a little bit of admin work to do here. I need to just apologize because the last week's podcast is not up as an edited recap on the channel yet. The reason for that is because I have big holes in my roof. My studio got a little bit flooded. Some of my computer equipment got damaged. I have had a hell of a week. Definitely need a positive day. So it hasn't gone up. I promise you it will do. This one will go up first. This one will go up as scheduled. And then I will find another slot later next week to just slide in the episode with Noah to get that up there. So if you're waiting for that, I apologize. It is coming.
And if you feel like it's a slight against you, it actually is you. You specifically. I'm not going to name you, but you specifically, it's your fault.
It's Andrew. This is a positive podcast. Positive.
That was positive. I'm positive it's somebody else's fault.
So the chat is already up and going. Proper Boots is in. Thank you for joining us. It looks like Patio Duck, but I know that's not what it says, but I'm going to read it as Patio Duck. It says, sup, Justin is in the house, who seems to be positive about the positiveness. Yuli is in the house and would like to say, since when are we positive? It's a good point. It's a good point. We're not always, but let's do it today. Yeah. We got some questions coming in already, which is great to see. And just keep them coming. Keep the questions coming. Keep the positivity coming. This is going to be the most positive you have ever seen, Andrew and I, ever.
Yuli says, say something positive about the Predator Edge. Okay, I'm positive it's a football boot.
I'm positive that I'm not wearing it. So, we will go through the normal step-by-step as we do before we get to all of our positive vibes, but we'll try and keep this positive as well. I'm enjoying this already. I'm feeling good. I'm manifesting positivity. And let's talk about what you've been wearing this week, Andrew. What's been on the feet? The Sakito review is going strong, I assume.
It's going pretty well.
How are we getting on?
Well, I knocked about them in these a bit more. These are going to be a go-to boot, definitely for me. I love these.
Yeah.
And then something that I don't think anybody's seen that I picked up yet, but I finally got.
Yeah, oh my word. Those are special. That colorway is...
I wish this, I would love to see a Mizuno Asics crossover just to make these in that synthetic leather that Asics has, because, I wish you could wear leather boots, James, because these
synthetic right here.
Yeah. These are absolutely top tier, man.
Oh, they look delicious.
Yeah, they are
absolutely amazing.
The best boots of all time. Easy. I have no problem saying that.
It's a bold claim, but we love it. Do you know what else it is? It's positive.
It's very
love
positive. That. I am very positive that these are one of the best boots of all time.
Unbelievable. So I love those. I love those. So I got two things that came in this week and a whole bunch of stuff that went out. I do want to say, while Yuli is in the chat, I don't know if he'll have to go at some point, I do have a pair of boots in for the positivity for a section that Yuli sent to me. So if he does miss that, if he has to pop out or anything, you should definitely catch that on the catch-up. But anyway, I had two pairs come in, and I think I'm at 22 pairs out. There's a lot of boots have left this week, which is sad but it needed doing. They had to go.
Yeah.
The hardest one was actually the Vapor 13, my new lights pack, Vapor 13, that went. I got good money for them. I'll pick some up at another time. But we'll keep it positive.
I'm positive you will find another pair.
Exactly. It was good money.
I still have like 12 pairs left I'm trying to sell. So
nice. Yeah, I've got a lot still to sell, but I'm happy with what has departed. And some very friendly people in the comments. Sergio Reiko, he comments on here a lot. He bought a pair of T90s from me, the
nice.
Air Zoom 3s, and they were very cheap. And he's a lovely man, and he dropped an extra €10 into the. He dropped an extra €10 into the payment as well. He was like, "Hey, here's an extra €10 to support the channel." So I got to give him a lovely shout out for that. That was a delightful thing to do. In terms of boots, I picked up these.
Hey, yeah, I saw that.
So I do already have a pair of these, as you know, because I bought them from you. So this is the Mizuno Alpha, but this is the AG Mizuno Alpha.
Yeah.
This is also half a size smaller than the other pair I have, which is, I don't know if I'm going to get away with it. I've had them on feet, and there's a pressure on the end of my big toe. It's a proper like cut the nails really short and see if I can get away with it. But it's such a wonderful football boot.
It is so good. It's stupid.
This might be one of my favorite ever football boots.
It's like, so good.
Genuinely.
It's so funny how well it holds up considering it came out in 2022.
Yeah. And it's still, like, I will say this straight off the bat and probably ruin one of my own videos that's coming up of, like, you know, best speed boots like that are available or something like that. This is number one. This is still the best speed boot available. Like,
it's really hard to beat the Alpha.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Such a good football boot. But I got those. So I've got to also give a big shout out to the Boot Zone, who I got these off. So thank you very much to the Boot Zone for sending these out very, very quickly. And I also picked up something else, which was, so this was suggested by somebody who is a subscriber to the channel and commented on the video, and I cannot remember who it was. I have scoured my comments and I cannot find it. If you happen to be on the podcast or watching the podcast, let yourself be known. I got a pair of these. These are the Joma Aguilar Cup. And they're lovely. They were 46 euro. They were 46 euros. Lovely AG plate. That's like really good for AG. That's really fantastic. It's nice and stable. Has a reasonable spring back for a boot at 46 euros. Synthetic upper, which needs a little breaking in, but we'll see how that goes when I haven't been out in these.
46 euros. Like...
Yeah, needs breaking in a little bit. My only issue at the moment, for 46 euros is not an issue, but the heel is shaped wonderfully, but the material is super slick. Super slick. But it's a wonderful shape. They have to cut somewhere. And this is half a size down from what I would normally wear. So this is a US 7.5, UK 6.5. And it's still a little bit too long. I could have almost gone down a whole size.
Yeah, they do run big.
So I think either way, I think for 46 euros, these were an absolute bargain. And I'm very, very pleased. And and I got my name on them. Hold on. So it's backwards, I assume. But there you got a bit of little boot wizard on there. So I got these from Goal In, which is a website that I've long considered to potentially be a scam. And I was like, you know what, we'll try it. And legit, printing, sent it out, all good.
It's crazy.
Without taking up too much time, I also tested this recently, which is a football from a company called Hayworth Athletic. 100% handmade football, so hand stitched, hand panels, everything like that. Review on that coming soon. And some more grip socks, because of course grip socks, some Viper 5 grip socks.
Because you have to.
Because you have to. But that's where I'm at. I haven't done a lot of testing. I just had stuff come in this week because, as I said, everything has been a little bit crazy. However, speaking of positive things, we also need to look at what was released this week. And I suppose the most positive thing we can do is look at the wonderful, wonderful new Messi colorway.
Yes.
That Messi boot is phenomenal.
Oh, so good.
Such a good football boot that I absolutely love, and I think will be in contention for a boot of the year shout.
Yes, absolutely.
I think that's a very fair claim. And this new colorway, I love the gold. I really like the gold. But I think this new colorway is better. I like a white base, the purple accents. I do think the new colorway is better.
The chameleon call out just as an accent is done. That's really, really tastefully done.
It is. I agree. And if Yuli is in the chat there, no hate on the Messi. Same with you, Justin. It's a positive day. But I think honestly, I think these are great. I think these are absolutely top tier in terms of colorway, performance, the works.
Yeah. 100%.
Excellent.
Great.
Now, again, I'm a very busy man at the moment. Have I missed anything? Is that the only thing that released this week?
Yeah, the Mizuno M8 Morelia released, but I think we talked about that.
We talked about that last week. Yeah, we definitely covered that last week because I'm literally looking at my notes here, which have the notes from last week and this week, and I have the Mizuno M8 on last week's notes. So I think that's the only one, which is a refreshing change of pace.
Mm-hmm.
Even the companies are trying to be positive this week and make us happy.
Yeah.
There we go. The chat is going off.
Anything.
The chat is going off. Let's have a look. What's going on in the chat here? We've got there. Sorry, I'm trying to read and do this at the same time. True Jesus is loving the alpha. DJ's in. Work finished. Podcast time. Yes.
Yeah.
PDL 24. Do they feel weird with no heel counter? Do what feel weird with no heel counter? I don't know what we're talking about.
The Tomas.
But Teo Skills, the Mizuno sizing is crazy on the Alpha. I don't think it's crazy. I have my pair that I got off you, which are my normal size, US 8 kind of thing. And they're a little bit long, but that kind of is how it is. And then the half size down is a little bit too small. I don't think that's too much of a too much of a drama. I think that's okay. There we go. What a good looking boot. But yeah. So thanks. Keep them coming in the chat. Sorry,
is it true that Reebok is returning to the boot game? That's not sure.
I've heard rumors, but I have nothing more than rumors. There was a report. It might have been Footy Headlines had a report on it, but Footy Headlines reports and reliability aren't two things that necessarily always go hand in hand. So I've got to give a shout out to the Boot Zone, who obviously I bought my Mizunos off, who is actually in the chat. So thank you very much. There we go. Thomas, so I mentioned this right at the very beginning. He says, am I the only one who can't find the episode from last week? I mentioned at the beginning, essentially, studio flooding, computer issues, blah, blah, blah. The edited version is not up. It will be up mid next week. So, Yuli, none of that negativity on the admin boot, please. On the Messi boot, please.
Someone asked me to say something positive about the Vapor 13. It came in great colorways.
They did come in great colorways.
There's some very good colorways. That Korea colorway is still one of the best Vapor colorways ever, I think.
Yeah. So interestingly, Justin is in the chat right now. It's funny you mentioned that because on the Bootcast podcast this week, the guys finished off their podcast by talking about boots that they regret kind of either buying or something like that. we're being positive this week. We're going to be the positive podcast. And this was your suggestion, Andrew. I think it's a great place to start. And the Korea colorway is a lovely segue in, because I sold my Korea colorway Vapor 13s and I kind of regret selling them. Like, I was a bit like, at the time I didn't, but as time has gone on, I'm more and more like, oh, I should have kept hold of those. So I think we should start with the opposite, and boots that we are very pleased that we bought, like boots we're happy that we managed to get hold of, or even happy that we sold, maybe. What have you got up your sleeve?
So, boots I'm happy I got a hold of is, I obviously love these. These are the Wave Ignitus 2 Keisuke Honda model. And it's got a special stud layout and everything. You can see, because the sun is bursting through and it doesn't have an external heel counter like the regular ones, and it's a wider fit. So these are actually normally with the Ignitus I went half size down. These I went a full size down because it's a wide fit.
Okay.
But I think I got these for the equivalent of like 65 euros. And they retailed for like 125. So
damn.
Yeah, I actually I was gonna get a second pair, and then I noticed after I posted them about Instagram, the second pair got sold that I had found. That like immediately, like literally, like I think it's connected.
Just done.
Yeah, and then I was floating around on Mercari, which is huge for reselling here, and I found the second pair for like probably like 75 euro. So I picked those up as well. So I've got two pairs now, so I'm a happy little bunny. The
nice.
other one, because it was kind of hard to choose, the other one was these. So the this is coming apart, but that's fine. I might just paint it blue.
Yeah.
But I got these. So I have two pairs of this F50 with the HG sole plate. And I'd always wanted a pair of the white ones for obvious reasons, because they look gorgeous.
Because they look great.
Yeah. I picked these up for like 100 and maybe like 115 euros.
Amazing.
So, yeah, the other pair I picked up for like 200 euros. So
even so, like that. Oh,
yeah.
It's such a lovely boot to have.
That is so good. Yeah, I'm gonna one of them is definitely gonna get a lot of play time.
Yeah. Wear the hell out of one of them, and then you at least. I love having a backup for things like that. Just a nice pair that's in there.
Yeah.
Nice. Those are two crackers. There's just a couple of things popping up in the comments here. DJ just says, "Be interested to see your view on the Alpha Elite." I haven't. I only have two pairs of made in Japan at the moment, but I would like to try the Alpha.
The Elite is really good.
Is mentioning Griezmann's move to decathlon boots. We can neither confirm nor deny that is a thing. We have no inside information. However, the sole plate on obviously the boots that he's looking at, that he's wearing, the blackouts do very much look like the decathlon boots for sure. And there was something else, but I can't remember what it was, and I can't see it now. Oh, Boot Zone. I want to try those Kipster leather ones. Now, if you bear with me just a second, I don't even think I need to go off screen. I have a pair in the studio that I can show you. Talk about positivity and giving the people what they want. These belong to Boot Maniac, Julio. So go check him out. I got him a pair that I'm sending over to him. And this is them. This is the Kipster I have forgotten the name of. Oh, this is the Veralto K-Leather. And I have to say, holy crap. Like, these are 85 euros with a full K-Leather vamp. Like, full K-Leather vamp. And it is soft. It is mad. Now, it's quite thick. This is not thin at all.
He's a thick boy.
Dear Lord. For 85 euros. And, like, the sole plate's really well put together as well. It's the same as on the other Veralto. I was, like, I haven't worn these. They're not my size or anything. I've just got them for Julio. But, whew.
Yeah, that's really
those
well
are,
done.
I think these are going to be I can't wait for Julio to review them because I really want to see what he thinks. LJ has a pair as well. So if you have questions, definitely check out LJ Collects because I saw him with a pair of these a pair of these recently, but they are really fantastic.
Yeah.
My thing that I'm happy that I managed to get, or that I do have, has a little bit of a story with it, and it's an excuse for me to break these out at any given opportunity.
Yep.
My rose gold rose Lavelles. So these were released in stupidly small quantities, almost impossible to get hold of. They only released in her size. They're an interesting blend of the V1 upper with the V2 outsole, which is what most pros were using at the time, but you absolutely couldn't buy that, and it kind of just got released. It was just like, here, look at this lovely thing we have. Now, I was desperately trying to get a pair of these, and I couldn't. Like, I just could not get a pair. I tried everywhere, and they were only really available in the States. So getting a pair was nigh on impossible. So essentially, this leads into something else. It was the power of the boot community, shall we say. I essentially went on a little trail. I started asking people, being like, "Hey, do you have a pair? Can I get a pair?" Like, people who had a pair, where did you get them from? And I went on this little weaving run for months. I'm not even kidding, months of speaking to various different people, and gradually I actually ended up speaking to some people who were at the time New Balance's like marketing kind of company. And I got to speak to somebody, and I was like, "Hey, is there any that I can buy? Like, can you tell me where I can buy these? Is there any that you can kind of sort me out with?" And they basically went, "Oh yeah, like, we've got some of those, but we don't have like anybody to send them to. Like, there wasn't like a big demand from like our influencers or whatever, because we don't do a lot of football boots, and they're only in a 5.5." I was like, "Hey, look, could I buy them off you? Like, can you put them on the New Balance website? Is there a way I can buy them?" And they were like, "Oh, don't worry about it. What's your address?" I was like,
"That's
so
amazing."
I was like, they're like, "Just what's your address? Like, we've got a couple of pairs here. Like, we have no need for anything with them. We'll just send them to you." And I was like, cool. So there's a whole ton of people who got me to that point, which is one of the best things about the boots community as a whole.
Yeah.
And in the end, I didn't pay for these. So I have one of, if not my favorite pair of boots in my collection. And I did not pay for them. And it was all thanks to the boot community. And I just quickly want to, have I picked up the wrong boot? I have not. So I also, in that same vein, this is my positivity for the boot community as a whole. I have a couple of pairs of boots from our friend Yuli, who, like, I didn't buy them off him. I didn't ask him for them. We just exchanged stuff. You've seen it before.
This is something we do.
Yeah, this is something we do a lot. You tend to find that if within our immediate boot group, if you tend to buy a pair of boots off somebody, they tend to arrive with extras. There's like a pair of socks or a shirt or something else that tends to just pop into the box. I got stuff from you, and all of a sudden there was Mizuno Zero Glide laces and grip socks and all kinds of other stuff in there. So, it's nice to be nice. And I just picked up a pair very briefly before we came in, and Yuli sent me this signed pair of the Under Armour Magnetico Pros, which honestly,
awesome.
I love the fact, like, I just like that kind of stuff. And that was just the example I had to hand. I have a pair of like the synthetic like speciales as well that he sent out to me. So yeah, like, it's nice to have that within the community where everybody's kind of supporting everybody and just it's literally doing things without expecting anything. Just being like, "Hey, I have this thing that I think you will like. Here you go.
Here you go.
Like, you're going to enjoy. You might enjoy this more than I do. So here you go."
Yeah, I helped. No, he's done a quick video, and then I think I helped Noah get a pair of these because I don't know if they're even going to be available overseas. The only place I've seen them become available is Thailand.
Okay.
So far, and so I was like, no, you've got to try these. I'll help you get a pair, but you have to try these boots. Like, you would super appreciate them.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I helped him get a pair of those. I didn't have too many extras to send him. I sent him a nice bag that was in Noah's colorway.
Oh, nice. He loves things that are in his colorway, though. He's gonna love that.
Yeah. It's not something he can say he's using because, you know, obviously it's from a store here, and you know, he's got his work with Ultra Football, but yeah.
Yeah, he bought a pair of boots off me actually in my sale. He bought my pair of V110s, my red pair of V110s. And if he's watching this, I'm going to spoil the surprise, but I felt like my V110s and my V111s didn't want to be parted, so I just sent him both.
Nice.
It's just like, go have fun, enjoy those. They're off
and
to
he'll appreciate it.
He will, yeah. They're off to a good home.
Yeah.
So Yuli making a good point here, actually, based on what we're saying here. It says he has Andrew to thank for his Kelme Sharks, and me to thank for his Lotto Sheva 7 Extremes. The Lotto Sheva 7 Extremes is one of my favorite things that I've ever done. I don't have the boots, but I found these boots and essentially bought them with Yuli in mind after having a conversation with them. We bought them for €7. And then I shipped them over to him, this brand new pair of Lotto Sheva 7 Extremes, which if you've ever seen are just an incredible looking mad boot. And yeah, we got them for €7 and shipped them over to him, which is very, very cool. Yes, the Boot Zone, I do know what those are. Sorry, the Boot Zone asked a question. He sent us a picture of a pair of Kelme boots and wants to know what they are. I will come back to you after the podcast because I do know what those are. I just need to find the exact name. So do not panic.
Yeah.
I know exactly what those are. I just need to find it.
Might
so
be
that's
called the Michael? No.
I can't remember.
They're available here.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can get them. They're like, you can get them on AliExpress, and I think
they're available.
They
were specifically designed for the Chinese market.
Yeah, I've definitely. I saw a pair very, very recently, and I have them saved somewhere, just as like an interest thing, but I cannot remember the name of it. I will find it. I'll get back to you, the Boot Zone. So, moving on, I think to we had some people kind of mention things in the on Instagram in the story before we kind of jumped in, and I think we should kind of cover some of them.
Yeah,
see
absolutely.
What people are finding enjoyable. Something that kind of kept coming up. So Benjamin Thompson mentioned this, similar to what Chris Pottle mentioned. Benjamin's exact wording was the disruption of the big three. And Chris Pottle said wide choice of models and colorways. And I feel like they both kind of go together. So I don't know. What are your thoughts? I think it's very positive. What are your thoughts on this disruption and the amount of choice we have now, maybe compared to what we used to have, and how we should be like thankful for it rather than maybe complaining about stuff?
Yeah, it's there's a lot of different companies out now with different ideas, and I love that because sooner or later the big three will have to take notice because it's eating into their market share, and you know, more so than like Mizuno and ASICS aren't huge, but they are fairly traditional companies in the sense that they've been around for a very, very long time. But we're starting to see smaller, newer brands like Sokito, you know, or because I've got to mention them, Adler. Adler have also been around for a very long, long time, but they're actually starting to push on the international market. So you know, the more of these smaller brands who are pushing themselves is great for us as customers. It's great for us reviewers. You know, it means we don't have to cover the same three brands over and over again. So yeah, the choices are out there. There's so many boots. I think even if, you see like an Asics or something you want to get and they're not readily available, but you still can grab them from like eBay or something, or, talk to me, or there's like I can help you figure
Tokyo
out how to get
Football.
a pair. Yeah, go through Tokyo Football. There's so many options out there that it kind of like behooves you to try something different, not just stick to the big three or stick to whatever you can find in the store. Try something different. There's so many smaller brands that are coming out now, and I genuinely, this is one of the things I love the most about the industry right now.
Yeah, it's the reason I brought it up. I think it's one of the most important things, one of the best things about the industry at the moment. And even by, trying a smaller brand, I realize some of these brands aren't small, but just stepping away from at least Nike, Adidas, like
Hmm.
maybe Nike, Adidas, Puma, but go and try New Balance. Go and try. People are going to love me saying this. The Under Armour Shadow Pro 2, like
Hmm.
it's a great boot. Go and try that.
Yeah,
Try
I want to
try
test those.
Sakito. Try Asics.
Hmm.
All of these, like
Try
Adler,
Adler.
of course. Yeah. Well, I think okay. I'm going to throw some positivity your way because I think this is only
Mhm.
fair. We share it around. I think that there are thousands and thousands of people who are knowledgeable of Adler because of you. And
Oh,
there are
thank you.
hundreds and hundreds of people who have Adler boots because of you. Like, it's not, and I don't mean just because they're like seeing your reviews or watching you on the podcast speak about them. It's because the reason I have an Adler boot is because of you. So
Hmm.
every single person that has watched my review of an Adler has watched it because you managed to sort me out the boots. The same with Noah, the same with so many
Hmm.
other people. This expansion of Adler, like I say, I think it's great. It's great for the industry, but I think you deserve an awful lot of credit for that. And yet,
Thank you.
rightly so, a lot of people will throw a lot of love to Noah because of the
Yeah.
platform that he gave those Adlers.
Hmm.
He gave those Adlers a huge platform. But you are the reason that those Adlers are in his hands.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes we as reviewers get a little bit bogged down in various things. Like it's hard. It's very
Hmm.
hard to reach an
Yeah.
audience, especially when this is very expensive and etc. etc. We do it because we love it, but we
Hmm.
kind of sometimes forget that we can, because the niche is so small, we can have an impact. And I
Yeah.
think you with Adler is a great example of having a really positive impact on an entire industry, which is
Yeah.
something I don't think a lot of people can ever say that they've done.
Yeah. We'll thank you. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, obviously I'm still kind of working hand in hand with them on a lot of stuff, so
Mm-hmm.
we'll
Wait,
see.
Alex Martinez in the chat here. Lots of love to Andrew's catalog on the blog. Help me find sizing recommendations on older models.
Oh, thank you
So
for
there you go.
reading. Yeah,
And PDL 24, which is Billy for sure. Props to Andrew for Adler. Adler awareness. Just need bigger sizes.
we're working on it. Working on it.
Proper boots. Throwing you some flowers as well, Andrew. There's
Mhm.
good stuff. And yes, Footloose boots. I have made him very happy by mentioning the Shadow Pro 2 there.
Yeah. I definitely, between him and Noah, I definitely want to try a pair of those. Get a pair in for review. So.
Yeah, I can probably So you see the bright yellow boots that are just
Yes.
there. That's my Shadow Pro 1. And then my Shadow Pro 2 are on the bottom shelf because the bottom shelf is my 2 review shelf. So they've
Oh, you
made it to the
organize
2.
your stuff? That's weird.
Well, I didn't, but because of the kind of like flooding kind of situation, I ripped everything out and redid it. So there's actually like, I used to organize things by like, here's the Adidas shelf, here's the Nike shelf, but it's not actually the best way for me to do things.
Mhm.
So I now have like, so here is like, this is for sale, and underneath is for sale, and then under that is like all of my boots that I'm keeping but are like old, so I don't need to get them out very often at all. The boxes up the top here are just pretty looking empty concave boxes. And over here, this is again, this is storage. This is boots that I've reviewed that I don't need, that I might just need to pull out from time to time that don't have boxes. But then I have a shelf, which is like, this is where I put everything that I needs to be reviewed, because then I don't forget that this needs to be reviewed. And if that shelf is full, I need to work harder. The shelf is currently full. But oh my God, like honestly, I need to work out a way to, like, I don't know, edit faster or something, because here's a peel behind the curtain for you. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have 10 reviews recorded, ready to edit just for Puma. There's just Puma reviews. Like, I have 2 Asics reviews, 10 Puma reviews, 1 Kipster review, 2 Gripsock reviews, and 1 Gripsock tier list, and a couple of rants. All recorded. They just need editing. I've even got the on-feet stuff. Normally what holds me back is I'm like, okay, I need to get onto the pitch just to get a little bit of on-feet kind of footage and stuff, because it really adds to the video. I've got it all. I just need to edit the damn things. I just don't have time.
Who needs sleep?
Who needs sleep? Especially when you've got a 2-year-old. Who needs sleep when you've got a 2-year-old? Like, oh dear. But anyway, that's all on the way.
I like this comment from Matthew H. Every time I've reached out to you, one of you, Noah, Bootcast, or Sub, or whoever, you're always more than happy to help and recommend. We appreciate you more than you know. Thank you. My bank account hates you, though. That's a fair trade-off.
Yeah. That's very good. But yeah, you know what? We are all happy to help. Like, everybody, all the niche is small, and in some ways that's a bad thing. Like, it's a bad thing for us as reviewers. We don't get like the kind of like the audience that maybe we would like. But the positive is that you can jump on a podcast like this and have a chat. You can jump into our DMs. We're always available, and there's so many people that are available, and a lot of them are the people that you've listed right there. I love that you're giving Sub his flowers too. I think Sub needs more. Sub awesome. Needs more love. We love him here on the channel. And if you're not watching the Bootcast podcast, what are you even doing? It's the most. It's the most fun you can have for 30 to 45 minutes. I enjoy watching
13 seconds.
The boys are on it. I love it. There we go. Okay, so that's the industry as a whole, and we're very positive about that. Even down to brands like Skechers, massive brand, but another option that's out there. We're probably preaching to the choir, because if you're watching this like video, you're already in this ballpark. But next time you go to buy a pair of boots, maybe buy something that's not Nike or Adidas. Check some reviews and just try something else. Take a shot. Stab in the dark. Just try something else.
Even if your budget's limited, because the big three dominate so much, the likelihood of you finding an amazing deal from a smaller brand is very high.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so speaking of smaller brands, I'm getting good at this segue thing. We should probably talk about this uptake that we're seeing of genuine sustainability starting to creep into the industry.
Finally.
Speaking of smaller brands.
Yes. I've already.
No, please.
I've already reached out to Sokito. So Sokito sent me these. I'm very thankful of them for doing that. I'm very appreciative. But so people, I know some people have had some negative thoughts about these, and they're really bloody good. Like, you need to try them before you say anything about them. But I've already reached out to Sokito and said, like, hey, should I buy another pair of this colorway, or is there another colorway coming? And I was told, we won't confirm anything. If you love the current colorway, get the current colorway. But stuff obviously is coming.
Stuff is coming. This is the same response that basically I got, which is like, we're not telling you anything, but stuff is coming.
Yeah. And I definitely, I talked in my review about wanting to cut down and stuff, but at the same, like, I'm still going to collect boots, and these. I think I'm going to collect several pair of these because I just like wearing them. I will go through these like crazy. So
yeah, no, I agree. These are fantastic, and they're a fantastic football boot just as a football boot. But then you start to factor in the price, the sustainability aspect of just the materials, the sustainability of being able to recycle old boots.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
There was somebody on Facebook who was kind of down on them, and he's like, they're celebrating basically having done nothing. Like, a lot of brands have recycled materials. Yeah, a lot of brands have like recycled materials these days. It's not a big deal, yada, yada, yada. And I was like, no other brand's making it a core part of their business, right? Like,
exactly.
That's a huge difference. And it's like, they didn't release this boot and said, hey, we're done. They released this boot and said, hey, we love what we've done here. We can do better, and we will do better.
They said, hey, this is the best we can do right now.
Right now.
And but here you go, because we think this is great. But leave it with us. We will make it better. Like, at least the sustainability aspect, I all the props to them in the world. And that recycling scheme, for me, that's what sets them apart more than anything. It's great to have the recycled materials and blah, blah, and you can make an argument. Like, Umbro just dropped their new Velociter with like 85% recycled materials. Great. I love that.
That's
I
awesome.
absolutely love that. But look at how essential it is to Sakito that they put money into this recycling program to be able to recycle boots. Not all of the materials, by the way. In fact, at this point, I don't think any of the materials go back into the boots. They're just used for other things. And they're giving you money off to send them your boots.
Yeah.
Just to try and create a more circular kind of economy. I realize it's not circular at this point, but, working on it.
That's what they're pushing for. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's weird to see, we've talked about this before, that some brands will play to the crowd about being environmentally friendly, but ultimately like pull back when they want to, or they feel like it's,
if it's not financially viable.
Yeah, because, they're essentially, a lot of these teams, they're not really creating stuff as much as being advisors, and whenever there's job cuts, advisory roles are the first to go.
First to go.
Yeah. So, I mean, to try and keep this positive, it's nice that Sokito has been so adamant, like, this is the thing they are doing.
Yeah.
So.
I agree.
I think,
something else oh, sorry, go on.
Oh, sorry. I do think that through Sokito, they can hopefully push retailers to also start doing something similar.
Yeah.
Because that's what I'd really like to see.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That would be amazing.
Having a boot recycling program, taking boots back and stuff.
Yeah. I'd love to see like Unisport do it. Like Unisport, take boots back.
Yeah.
Give you a discount, like, recycle it through, give you a voucher for Unisport. Because surely that's also going to benefit them, because they're going to have people, I'll buy from Unisport. I'm going to get €10 off if I send them my old boots back.
Yeah. That's an
works
easy
for
win.
Everybody. Yeah. This is a small enjoyment that I'm getting that you don't get very often on a lot of football boots, but I'm getting it on the Sakito, and I don't know how well you can see it. But you can see that kind of my Sakito's got pretty like dirty around the front here. So this is from like the AG and things like that. The Sakito upper looks banging when it's dirty.
Yeah. Most of my pictures are the boot being dirty, and I'm not sure Sokito themselves appreciate it as much, because they seem to want like the clean lines.
The clean aesthetic. But these boots look great when they're dirty.
They really do. Like, I've got grass stains on mine, and it just looks right.
It does. Yeah. I think it's where it kind of follows the pattern of like that texture through the upper. I love that. I absolutely love that. So we're definitely good on that front. I do want to bring up something that Footloose Boots brought up in the chat. It's nice. It's lighthearted. New boot smell. That's his positive thing. New boot smell.
Yeah. I haven't played in these yet. Oh my gosh, the leather.
New boot smell.
The leather smells so good.
If I remember his exact comment, it was "new boot smell, bring me the chemicals" or something like that.
Yeah.
But new boot smell, that's something to be positive about, I think, for sure. Oh, there you go. Alex Martinez, on the soccer site, there was an orange and blackout pair available, maybe by mistake. I think he might be talking about the Sakito there. I can't. We don't comment on leaks. Is the general philosophy of the podcast. I think so. This got brought up a few times as well. Matteo Hall brought this up alongside disruption of the big three, but let's give at least one of the big three a little bit of love. Return of the Preds and the F50s. This was well received and very positive, and a lot of people are very happy about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm very, very pleased that they went down that route and brought them back.
For sure. And I've got to the Boot Predator also sent me a message, and it wasn't anything but an emoji of a tongue. So I think there's a lot to be positive about, and I don't think this is necessarily just a case of we've got the F50 back, we've got the Predator back. Like, you know, a name is a name. You can have terrible Predators with a Predator name. It has been proven. You can have terrible F50s, but I don't think it's the fact that they've got the Predator and the F50 back. I think it's the fact we've got two fantastic boots with the Predator and the F50 name. These are both very, very good boots, and they've got the messy F50s on top of that.
Yeah, they've really outdone themselves this year. Maybe if less positive, they've done too many releases, but the fact that the boots came out and they not only look good, but they play good and perform good is huge.
Massive. It would have been one thing to have the tongue and just have an average boot, but this is a great boot with a great fit and great materials with a great tongue that looks great. See how 100%. Positive I'm being? If I say great enough times. I've lost the comment. Here it is. Kicking it with Kolbs, just to pick up on you saying there was maybe too many colorways. Kicking it with Kolbs from the Bootcast podcast has spun that in a positive way. It says, if you don't like the current colorway, there'll be a new one in a week.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think as we're being positive, that is a lovely positive spin to put on there being 800 million colorways, which we have got on about many times on the podcast.
Yeah.
But, you know.
There's something for everybody. I think with the market the way it is that now, there is something for everybody. So
yeah, absolutely. Like whether that's style of boot, brand, colorway, there's something for everybody.
I do like this comment from Alex Martinez. Huge plus awareness that brands like Diadora, Pirma, and Concord are making slight comebacks. Yeah, I reviewed a pair of the Olmeca Master Pique, and I love those. And yeah, I wish brands like that were become more widely available. Like Mexico has like an amazing tradition of homebrew football boots and stuff, and these brands that you can't really get anywhere else. Sometimes you can get them in the southern U.S., but like I would love to see I think Pirma is actually Brazilian, but I'd love to see like Concord and Olmeca become more widely available. Concord has got some amazing stuff. They've always had some like really, really high quality boots that are a lot cheaper because they're made in Mexico, and a lot of stuff is sourced locally.
I think Yuli has some like Concord, like wrestling Concord boots, like luchador Concords.
Yeah, he does.
I love those.
Peretz from our chat, he's got a pair of silver and lime green Concords that look fantastic. And I saw them share it, and then yesterday I saw them, or they shared his post about them, and then yesterday I saw them like, hey, by the way, we still have them available.
You can still buy these.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Sub has joined the chat and just said boo tongues. Substance football
positive.
Sub, we're being positive today. It's all about the positivity, so we're not going to worry about that. Yes, Yuli, the Mathematico. Like, I absolutely love those. Absolutely love those. They might be my favorite boots that you have.
They're really cool. Why can't we have 20 Messi colorways? Yeah, I know.
Well, don't worry, you will get 20 Messi colorways.
Yeah,
because well, we've had the gold, the white has released, and there's at least 2 more colorways that we know of that are coming. All within the next kind of couple of months. So we're definitely going to be starting to range on that like 1 colorway a month kind of situation of them, which on any other podcast I would complain about, but not today. We're not going to worry about it. It's a something for everybody kind of vibe. If you didn't like the gold ones because they were too gold, you didn't want to wear gold, that's fine. You got white and purple. You don't like white boots, don't worry. There's more coming. Like, it's going to be fine. Let's have a look here at proper boots, which is an interesting one, because this is something that I think definitely gets overlooked. Just in general, he's just said less blistering. Now, obviously, fit in general, and I'd love you to speak on this, like the difference between like how it was maybe when you were in retail and the boots that you were wearing, and those kind of like blister machine boots, to what you get now, which is almost unequivocally a comfortable boot that doesn't give you blisters.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of my big things about like people saying like boots were better like 10 years ago in 2014. This is one of the reasons why I say they're not, because so many boots, like, you will get blisters in boots still. Like, it hasn't been eliminated completely, but I'm hearing about it less and less. Again, there's still issues, and some people still have issues with fit and stuff, but the fit of boots overall and the quality of the liners and stuff have gotten way better. So we're in a much better place in terms of that. I mean, the fact that there's vapors on the market that people don't get blisters from is massive.
Yeah.
Because like people just used to accept that getting blisters was a part of getting vapors.
Yeah, you just kept going until either your feet hardened or the boot broke. Like, it broke in. Like that was your 2 choices. Either your feet hardened to it happening and you like kind of almost put calluses on your blisters, or you broke the boots in enough so it didn't happen anymore. That was just how it was. Like, the fact that like you no longer have to go and like, I used to literally sit in a bath wearing my boots. Like, that's madness. That was just like the norm.
Accepted.
It's like,
yeah, I used to take showers in my boots to try and...
Exactly.
Yeah.
And sometimes even the like the shampoo and the shower gel and stuff, even that getting into the boots, getting into the leather, that kind of helped. You know, just like anything to try and break it down a little bit. Like, the fact that that was just what we accepted.
What they use now to treat leather boots especially has improved a lot over the years as well. And like, people won't notice that as much, but the actual leather treatment has improved massively.
Which is obviously positive. Just back to the chat here. Obviously, a mention of Charlie, which is great. And I've got a couple of Charlies that are in there. I'm hoping that I'd love to see them do something, take another step, you know. And we got a question from Justin. With the positive reception of the Messis and the Roteros, should those be standard editions going forwards? I think that's an interesting one. What do you think?
Yes and no. Okay, so yes, they should make them more readily available, but I don't think they should be the standard models. Like, if it was up to me, they would be the standard models, but I don't think they should, because there are... I don't know, but like, there's too much riding on these other materials succeeding in a way. But like the Rotero, like, they should have just done that in a black, white, and red and said, here's the leather Predator for this generation. It's always available.
Yeah.
Here's a, like, this new white and chameleon Messi. That should just be the standard Messi boot. Like, they'll make other Messi colorways, but they'll always have that boot available. Like, that's what they should do.
What I'd love to see now, I don't know, this might be just like leather bias on my point of view, but I'd love to see them do exactly what you said with the with like what they did with the Rotero. So they have a leather option in a certain number of colorways. So say they're going to release 10 Predator colorways and they do 3 of them in leather, basically. Like that would be great. Although I actually prefer your idea of having like maybe like some more classic kind of Predator vibes always available in these, like a black, white, red, a red and white, and maybe like a white and red or something like that. And those are always available. I think that would be amazing.
They're just available. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be fantastic. So that's kind of how I would go with the Predator. But with the F50, I actually think that swapping out to just hybrid touch is the sensible thing to do. However, like you say, they have this is a new material for Adidas, this fiber touch upper. I realize it takes a lot of elements from various different boots and things like that, but it's a new technology, it's a new material. They need to get their money out of this.
Yeah, they do.
They can't afford to drop it after 1 year, basically. Would be my thought. So I don't think we'll see it, but I would love to see that.
You could play devil's advocate and say that they never need to develop that material. They just stuck to hybrid touch.
Yeah.
And
absolutely,
there's an argument there to be made that they could have stuck to their guns and said, hybrid touch is one of the best materials ever made. We can't really improve on that. The new F50 is all hybrid touch. And I still think people would have gone wild. Even if they added like the compression fit tongue and all the other tech that they added to the F50, if they stuck to their guns and said, we're just doing hybrid touch on this F50, I still think they would have been very successful.
I agree. I also would have loved to have seen the Predator with the original hybrid touch too, just to see what that came out like.
Yeah.
Like, because I really like this new hybrid touch 2.0. I think it's really great, but it's not as soft as hybrid touch. Like, it is thinner, and it does I think it kind of suits the boot. Like, I absolutely understand the design choice of why they went this direction, but I would love to see, like, what was this like with, like, the original. Surely they tried it. Like just that original hybrid touch material. I feel like it would have really suited the boot. I think that would have been fantastic.
Agreed.
But great question. Thank you very much, Justin. Appreciate that. Yuli says, I'm more excited for the next podcast when all the positivity gets thrown out the window. It's so true. So we have, I've written the name down wrong, but somebody mentioned ASICS Momentum. And I think that's definitely something to pick up on. I think ASICS and Adler, for me, are like the two brands that seem to feel like they have momentum. Like, there's other brands that are bigger, that have more of a focus. So like Skechers, New Balance, things like that. They're getting a lot of attention, and they're doing great stuff, and rightly so, they should get the attention. But in terms of like a feeling of momentum, like an actual feel, like an undercurrent that's kind of pushing them more and more into the mainstream, I feel like there's something to be said for ASICS and Adler there.
Yeah, and for ASICS, this is where we need to give Noah his flowers, because Noah was really pushing ASICS from the first few times. Yeah. And so, like, I'd reviewed ASICS boots before Noah had, obviously, but Noah really pushed on them. And I will say, like, I kind of like re-looked at like my kind of how I interact with ASICS because of that. Obviously, I love that X-Fly Pro. Like, that's such a, like, for me, that's the best ASICS boot. I love that boot. It fits me perfectly. You know, if I had more money, I would literally go out and buy every single colorway of that boot because it's so good. I don't even have a pair right now, which is kind of a crime.
That is a crime.
Yeah. But Noah, like, made me rethink, like, how I interact with ASICS boots, and that's kind of like why I came to the decision last year to make the X-Fly 5 my boot of the year over the genuinely really, really good Morelia Neo 4.
Yeah.
But ASICS just, the quality isn't high, but the performance is fantastic and the fit is brilliant. But like, a lot of this momentum isn't coming from ASICS itself. It's coming from like Noah beating on the drum so much that people are like, oh wow, we actually really do need to check that out.
But again, it's a case of like us, you with Adler, Noah with Asics, and various other things, like actually creating this and making people take notice. Brands should take notice that we can do this. Like we actually have this kind of impact.
It's almost like we have some sort of influence on people.
I know, right? So here's an interesting one. It's slightly off topic, right? Of the two, I think I prefer the X-Fly 5.
Yeah.
But what I would love to do, and like this is completely fly on the wall stuff, or like pie in the sky stuff, I'd love to put the sole plate from this on this. Or on this. That's how I would like to do it. Because I think like I do prefer kind of the upper on this, and I prefer the heel. The heel on this is mind-bogglingly good. I really love the heel on this with the external heel counter. I think that's the main area where I take this over this. But I would just like this outsole is just that it's 10, 15, 20% better. I just love to put that on that, and that would
that's one of the reasons why I like the X-Fly Pro is that outsole is brilliant.
It is brilliant.
Someone's saying try the Ultreza. I have a review up of 2 of the 3 generations of the Ultreza.
There you go.
Go check that out.
Check out the man's Ultreza review.
James cannot try the Ultreza because it is kangaroo leather. So
James doesn't wear leather boots, for anybody that doesn't know.
So the second generation, the one I tested was a sustainable version, and they came out with a sustainable Ultreza 2, which was really great in theory, but the fit and the materials weren't quite there.
You did a review on that, didn't you?
Yeah. And they sold really badly, like really, really badly, which was unfortunate.
Yeah, I remember reading the review on that and you mentioning the fit just not being there.
Yeah, and the leather was just so poor. You had to play them for a long time to get them broken. If you're looking for ASICs, go through Tokyo Football. They're on Instagram. They're great. They're
so
really
Tokyo
great.
Football Tokyo Football have this exact boot available at the moment. So this X-Fly Pro 2, and they also have the Acros 3 in this color, or similar enough to this color anyway. They don't have the X-Fly 5 at the moment. I've done reviews of these recently, and I like to make sure, like I usually ask and then I can put it in the review. So it doesn't have the X-Fly 5 at the moment, but does have, not this X-Fly 5 anyway, not the limited. But he does have this one and the Acros. Acros definitely not down half a size.
No.
That was an error.
No, I need to,
it's actually all right lengthwise. There's just such a pinch point where it wrecks my feet. Positivity, James. So, proper boots, something else. And 3 Traveling Bears as well. They both mentioned this. And I think this is something we should definitely talk about. And it's the more sustained emergence of the women's fit boot.
Yeah.
This is very important.
It's so important, and companies are finally actually like, Nike had women's fit boots back in like the 2000s, and then they just dumped them because the sales weren't good. But it's like they never pushed them; they just kind of like went, bleh, here it is. And the fact that companies have reapproached it and are taking it seriously, and I think we actually have Puma to thank for that, because Puma were kind of the first ones to say like, we're just going to have women's fit from now on. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, Puma deserves credit there, and every brand should have women's fit.
Yes, I think there's two ways to look at this. One is that every brand should have women's fit available, and it should be a genuine women's fit, not just a colorway or a design choice.
Don't pink it and shrink it.
Exactly. Do not pink it and shrink it. This is the Puma King Pro, which, by the way, really great takedown model. And this is the women's fit. Now, something that I probably need to make a video on this or something, but while the fit is different, it does not mean that you, as a male or whatever, can't wear this boot. I've been wearing the Puma King Pro women's fit with no problems. This boot fits me
Yeah.
fine. Like,
Yeah.
so it's definitely worth giving a go. And sometimes they're available at great prices, such as this one. So yeah, I agree. I think Puma done a really great job here. I think the next step is that brands, I'm hoping one of the big brands does it, need to start considering the impact of their boots in women's fit in relation to women's injury. Like, there's definitely got to be that. Like, there was, I don't know if you saw or anybody saw, the opening 3 weekends of the WSL, there has been an ACL injury in each weekend.
Every weekend, yeah.
Yeah, there has been a woman go down with an ACL injury week 1, week 2, and week 3. That's mad. Like, and there's so much that can be done and should be done, but I think footwear needs to be considered in terms of how it supports women's feet, women's movement, women's bodies, whether that's down to sole plates, fit, various things like that. Of course, there's training methods and various things like that, loads and how the game is played that need to be looked at as well. But brands can do their part, and this goes that step further. So you've got like Pink It and Shrink It, which is the bare minimum, pretty much unacceptable because it also usually means increasing the price as well. Then you've got a change in fit, which is great. Okay, we've got a different fit here that's more designed to a more traditional women's foot. And then the next step is, what's a woman's biomechanics? How do they run? How do they? Yeah.
The insoles, for example, need to be different, I think.
Yes. That's the first step. I think that's the first step. Right? If they're not going to do like, outsoles and various things, insoles. Look at your insoles and what you can do.
It's really interesting because like Adidas doesn't really have women's fit, right? And probably my favorite women's Japanese player is the left winger for the national team, Ju Nindo.
Mm-hmm.
And she tore her ACL after the World Cup, and she had to have another surgery because it wasn't healing properly. And like, I follow her on Instagram, and she's been pushing really hard. And recently, she signed with Puma. And the thing about Puma is they do have women's fit, so I'm wondering if that alone will be a massive boost for her, or if there needs to be something more. I really think like the majority of the world's population is women. The women's game has gotten much, much bigger. I'd argue that although it's really expensive now, it would totally be worth it to get a bunch of women in and do the same sort of rigorous testing that they do for men's boots, or unisex boots, as they like to call them.
Absolutely.
Bring them in, change the sole plates, change the design. And I would argue that by doing that, they could benefit male players as well. Because there are some guys who would definitely benefit from having a different fit, a different sole plate, insoles that are more designed for support rather than just being. And again, it won't be cheap, but it's not something we should try to do. It's something we have to do. We owe it to the game as a whole.
I agree. And you know what? I've just had a thought. Now, I think that you've mentioned obviously bringing a lot of women and women's players and things like that, and that makes absolute sense. Nike right now, I think, have a glorious opportunity with Alex Morgan. She's just retired. Mm-hmm. I think if you were to bring in, she's contracted to Nike. I think if you were to bring in Alex Morgan as the face of your like women's consultancy, like so Alex Morgan is taking on this project with Nike to develop boots that are specifically designed for women. I think that's you know what I mean? There's just that opportunity there. You've got to have that kind of element of star power, I suppose. And even with her obviously retiring and, obviously her kind of a bit of a decline in performance, etc., she's still Alex Morgan.
Yeah. Like, and she's still a name. She's still, and I reckon like out of all the players who've retired over the past 5-6 years, she has probably, I'd argue, the biggest like following and like would have the biggest impact.
Absolutely. Like if you think of, I'm not American, so I could be wrong here, but like if you think of like now ex-women's US women's national team players, you literally putting Alex Morgan in the same kind of bracket and category as like your Mia Hamm. Like
Mhm.
she's that. She's bigger than
She's
Megan Rapinoe is comfortably.
yeah,
Like that's
yeah,
not even a conversation.
yeah,
Like it's she really, and I think there's use there that can be positive. There's
yeah.
definitely positive
Agreed.
use. Um, Justin, we definitely need to bring this up for sure. Justin is correct. Is that Nike obviously did try this with the Cyclone 360, which I would love to see like the actual research on. I actually don't doubt that Nike thought that this was a good idea, that they were like, this genuinely works. Now, obviously,
Mhm.
Nike revolves around marketing, but I do genuinely think that they did some testing and they found that this was a positive thing. But they ditched it after 6 months
Yeah.
and ditched the entire women's element of it. The current Luna, which is the successor to what is Nike's women's Luna boot, is essentially unsuitable for most women, I would say, based on the
Yeah.
shape of that boot. So they've taken their tech, ditched it because it got some bad press, and gone a different direction, which is disappointing. I'm trying to stay positive here.
Mhm.
And Justin also says, the only thing I don't like is the women's fit tends to use different sole plate materials. Other than that, access to them is great. I don't think Puma do. I think Puma use the same sole plate materials across men's and women's.
Mm.
I think the materials are the same. I could be, and same with the Adidas F50s. As far
Mm.
as I'm aware, they're the
Yeah.
same. It's definitely historically been the case. I don't think they're doing it as much anymore. That's for sure.
Ida is a women's specific boot
It
brand.
is,
Yeah.
and they're getting bigger.
Yeah. And they're getting way bigger because it's simply because they're just. I'd argue it's not basic, but I argue what they're doing is essential, and just because it's essential, they're exploding because of that. I mean, they're available all over the U.S. now. Like that's not an accident. There is a genuine market for this, and the more brands wake up and realize this, I mean, good for Ida. Like they're running, in some ways in the space, they're running unopposed.
Yeah.
There's nobody to stop them because nobody's taking the time. I do like Justin's suggestion here that Tobin Heath would be a great pickup because she's had so many multiple career-ending injuries.
Yeah.
That'd be a really good one. And also, like, when you look at the biomechanics, how like Alex Morgan played versus Tobin Heath, their play styles were so different.
Very different.
And I argue like having both of them would be a great idea because the way Tobin Heath played with like a lot of cuts in small circles, and she did a lot of stuff that would wreck a lot of men's players' bodies as well.
Yeah. She's got a great platform as well. I know she's not as big as Alex Morgan, but she has like she's got a clothing line, a podcast. Like she's definitely very active. So I think there's definitely something in that. It's a great shout actually. I was going to mention something else and I've forgotten what it was. Oh, it has evaded me. It can't have been that important. But yeah, I think the key here is that we're seeing positive steps. We've divulged into a massive discussion about obviously the need for women's specifics across the entire range. But the key is we are moving in the right direction. There's more to be done. There always is, but we are definitely moving in the right direction, and that is really, really positive to see. And I also want to shout out Fowdies, the Fowdies.com. They do women's jerseys. They sold Ida boots for a while. I think they still have some of the older models.
They've started carrying the newer stuff.
They started on the newer ones, yeah. That's great. But they really focused in on this idea that there was no availability for getting women jerseys with women's printing on them for the WSL. And they were very much the first people to do it. And you said it about like Ida going and running with this women's footwear thing. Fowdies did it with jerseys, and they are huge now. I spoke to them when they had literally a couple of hundred followers on Instagram, and now they're doing like clothing lines with Lucy Bronze and photo shoots with Arsenal, and they were out in the US and things like that. So Helen and the Fowdies team, like, just unbelievably well done, like, and well deserved as well.
Iniesta is the male Heath. Yeah, that's a good, yeah, I like that.
That's a great comparison. I love that. Oh dear. Okay, so something else I want to bring up as positives for this year. This is somewhat personal, and it's kind of a bit silly to follow it on from our in-depth discussion about the desire for, or the need for, women's football or women's specific boots. Is that we obviously recently got the 50th anniversary of Lotto, so a little celebration, which I enjoy, which resulted in a lot more exposure for Lotto than these. So I thought an excuse to break out the zero gravity. I wanted to bring something small and positive. So I have an original pair of zero gravities. These were like the remakes with the Solista sole plate on them, and this lovely, and the light is catching these really nice right now.
Yeah,
like,
that's such a well done upper.
And it's been nice to see. Like I'm a sucker for Lotto. I love Lotto as a brand and what they've done before.
Same.
And it's just nice to have a little bit of this and a little bit of the zero gravity, which is a lovely underrated football boot. It's just something nice that I wanted to bring on that was positive. Do I want them to do more with their mainline boots next year? Please, yes. But for 50th anniversary, I think they did a great job. They got good exposure, and hopefully they can move forward. Is there anything else that you would like to bring to the table in terms of positives that you'd like to bring?
Yeah, I just maybe just a shout out to the community as a whole. It's genuinely very positive, and I really enjoy interacting with people. That's like, it's what keeps me going in a lot of ways. Like the interactions I have with people and some of the chats I have are just excellent, and it's just a fun time. It's kind of a nice break from everything else, and the fact that it's such a main focus for me, I think really helps a lot.
I couldn't agree more. I think for us at least, the most important thing is the community as a whole. Because I don't think either of us would be doing this without the community. Like, it's fun to do, and yeah, we like doing it, but if I didn't have the ability to interact with the people I get to interact with, and whether that's obviously you, or whether it's like the boot group as we refer to it, or whether it's the people who are on this podcast, or whether it's still the even wider community than that. And like you say, it is generally positive. There's very few, like obviously I'm on YouTube, which is not the friendliest platform all the time, because people can write anything they like from behind a keyboard as faceless keyboard warriors. And it happens, of course it does. But I have seen channels, pages, niches that are much bigger than this, but on channels that are much smaller, channels with 500 or 600 subscribers, and there's people just underneath in the comments just being arses. I almost swore that. And it just doesn't happen as much in this space, and people are genuinely very positive and nice, and I do appreciate that. The example I give is I've having computer issues, recently looking at upgrading my computer, doing some stuff. So I was looking at a few videos on that, and dear Lord, some of the comments. Like, there's a guy who's put out this video, and it's a great video, and he's done his best. And all it is, there is literally every, like 9 out of 10 comments is somebody criticizing what he's done or complaining about it, rather than being like, thanks for what you do. So yeah, we have to appreciate the community that we are in. Yep, we complain that sometimes we're small and sometimes it's hard to get reach, and it's hard to reach as many people as we would like. But the people we do reach are generally they're generally good eggs.
Yeah, definitely.
And there is currently 26 of you being good eggs on the on the live chat right now. If you good eggs could like the video, that would be greatly appreciated. Get subscribed if you're not already. There's been 130 of you who have joined the chat at some point this evening, which has been very, very much appreciated. So thank you all very much.
Yeah, much
Footloose
appreciated.
Boots, while we're being positive, I will still not allow James Milner to be compared to Tobin Heath. None of that. Justin makes a great point. We've made a safe space, and we love it. And I think that's part of it. Actually, is we did make the space, not us, me and you, but we as a community, as people, all of us. We have made this space. It could have been toxic and terrible, and we spoke about a lot of stuff last week, the week before. But I still think that we make the space what it is, and we have made it a nice space to be. And I think that's great. Yuli, stop that. Yuli, just stop that. He's just casually promoting my GS360 video again. Stop that.
Like Alex may or may not have just played some more football.
Yes, yeah. Alex. We love that. Yes, we are. This is the only other problem with us being so supportive is people go and spend a lot of money and we're like, yeah, do that. You do that.
Yeah, go
you go spend that money.
This whole selling thing between James and I have just been like, yeah, that's good. That's good. We're like pushing each other to sell stuff, and yeah.
I wouldn't have sold half the boots that I've sold if it wasn't for you, but that's good. There you go. Yuli deleted his own comment using his own admin powers.
No, Justin deleted it.
Oh, Justin deleted it. Sorry, I thought. Thanks, Justin. admin on admin violence in the chat.
Nice.
Is there anything else that you would like to bring up in our positivity? I am pretty happy with that.
I'm positive I will rant something about next week. So,
lads, we are going to actually, we might not rant next week. Well, we will a little bit, but next week we should have, all going well, we should have LJ Collects joining us next week to discuss laceless football boots. If you haven't already, if you would like some pre-podcast reading, go and check LJ's article that is on the 442 website about laceless boots. This is what podcast next week is going to be based on, and we're going to deep dive into whether laceless boots are essentially a dying breed. Hopefully next week. You'll find out when I put it on Instagram. We'll see what LJ's at. But thank you all for joining. I believe that is us for today. Stay positive. We will do our best until next week when we will be very negative. Thanks, everybody. Go and find Andrew at Lockhart Boot Blog on both his blog and Instagram. And obviously get subscribed here to Boot Wizard and on Instagram at Boot Wizard Boot Reviews. Thank you very much. And we will see you soon.
Thank you.